Welcome back to the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every week on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash the subscribe and bell notification button. Audio versions of the show are also available on Anchor, so if you want to head over there, you can get the audio versions. Also, if you want to contact the show, you can get us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, the Upper Tier Podcast. Joining me tonight for our Europa League match reaction. Football and madness again. What a festival of football this week. Man United 6, Roma 2. Darren, madness.
Hang on, Noel, I'm just wiping this cream off the top of my lip here. I feel like the cat that just got it after that, pal, to be honest with you.
Oh, I tell you, man.
It was nuts. It was really, really nuts, you know. It was a very, very open game of football. I kind of think at times that Europa League can be a bit like that you score, we score kind of thing. And if you can hold out, you know, you'll end up winning games. But it was nuts from start to finish, wasn't it? Really.
Very, very strange for an Italian team to be that open, though, isn't
it? It isn't. It is, but I had a little look at Roma's results at the weekend, not just last weekend, but I had a look at the games previous, and they are a team that score, but they are a team that concede a lot. I think tonight was cemented the fact that Chris Smalling should never ever return to Man United, because I mean there was United fans when Smalling was having a nice little time over in Italy. United fans were saying, let's bring Smalling back, you know, he's better than Maguire, he's better than Lindelof, he's this, that, and the brand. Yeah. He was absolutely poison tonight. He was really, really poor. The market on Pogba for the fifth goal was just like, you know, how do you miss a 6'5" black guy walking past you in the box? Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's get this right here. But it was a great performance. I mean, obviously the first half, I think even though we went in 2.5 time, like we'd 70% of the possession and there was chances, you know. Roma had 3 men injured in the first half as well. So that obviously changed the game. And I think that the big changing point in the whole game was the keeper going off. The lad Pau Lopez is a good keeper. He's a solid goalkeeper. And he went off and they brought on the understudy. And he was absolutely dreadful, God bless him. He was at fault for the Cavani goal to make it 3-3. He was probably at fault for the Greenwood goal as well. And he didn't cover himself in glory at all, at any stage, you know. So, hopefully it's on to the final for us.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping as a Liverpool fan that it would be tight and you might rest players on Sunday, seeing as you have top 4 wrapped up nearly, you know. And we could have a bit of a pop. But I mean, there's no need to rest anyone now Sunday, because you could send the under 10s over there now on a school trip next Thursday and it'd be all sorted.
Yeah, we might even get to see Donny van de Beek next Thursday. You never know. Poor old Donny might get a kick.
Tell you, who knows what might happen next week. What about Cavani? Absolutely outstanding. He's absolute vintage, isn't he, really? Get that man signed up. Don't be messing about.
I don't think there's any messing from the United side, if I'm honest. I think United, you know, there's an intent there to try and sign. I think, you know, I don't know whether he's loved his first year in English football. Obviously, he had the incident with the tweet and stuff like that, and that soured things from a little bit. I know I've heard Solskjaer say he's kind of rabbiting in his ear and he's trying to say, you know, you love this place when it's full.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a very valid point, isn't it?
Another year tonight. His movement is just electric. He's on the line and he's not doing a whole lot. And people drop off. And as soon as they drop off, he comes alive. It's like he can sense when they've let their guard down. And all of a sudden, like a really good striker, all of a sudden he's on the front foot and the ball is getting moved into his path. And you don't think when he gets in, he's going to miss, you know, he's very cool and calm. His finish for the goal to make it 3-2 or 2-2 was just a side foot into the top corner. Beautiful bend on it. It was a really, really good goal. You know, it's a great finish. And it's something we've been missing for a couple of years now.
Yeah. Then you've Bruno chipping in, gets his customary penalty. How did you think Bruno did tonight?
Yeah, he was good. He was good, in fairness to him. He looked a lot livelier tonight than he has in previous games. Now, to be honest with you, me and you would have looked lively in that game with the amount of space that was in it. You know, he got lots of space between the halfway line and the 18-yard box, so he could play and he could be expansive. Now, he picked a couple of good balls out He picked one out for Wan-Bissaka when the keeper dropped it, and then Cavani put it in. He did do well. He put a really good cross in for Pogba. It was a United corner, and the ball got slid back to Bruno, and he whipped the first time onto Pogba's head. Now again, the marking wasn't great, but as soon as he wins the header, like, the keeper hasn't got a hope with it. It's a really, really good header. It's what you're looking for from your centre midfielders, or even as Pogba was tonight. He was playing on the left hand side of the tree. But it was good. Bruno did well, thank God. Hopefully, we'll keep him like that for Sunday.
Absolutely. Marcus Rashford out on the right, not a happy bunny.
No, it doesn't suit him at all.
Yeah.
Long gone are the days where a right-footed player played on the right. The last time anybody decent on the right with a right foot played for United, it was David Beckham. Everybody else that's been there has been a left-footed player coming in, and the same on the opposite side. That's why Pogba's out there, comes in on that right foot. Likes to pick out a ball at the back post. Rashford, for me, is in danger of losing a spot, if I'm honest. I thought he played well last week in the Burnley game, but he hasn't been amazing all season for us. And fitting him in is going to be a problem. Like, if Pogba keeps playing the way he is, Pogba gets the spot on the left. Bruno plays 10, and then you've got, Cavani or another striker. Because I think if Cavani doesn't sign up in the summer, I feel like we'll go and get a striker. And then you've got Greenwood, who is really turning the screw, because every time he plays, he scores or he assists. And Marcus came off earlier on. Greenwood comes on, gets a goal. He looks a real threat from that right hand side. It's the only two positions tonight that you could question. Was obviously De Gea played instead of Henderson, and Rashford played instead of Greenwood. Other than that, that's our strongest side we have.
Rashford, when he's on his
Marcus
game,
could find himself out in the cold soon enough, I think.
Yeah, when he's on his game, I mean, he's in the team, isn't he? It's just, do you think maybe he needs a little bit of time out of the team?
Yeah, I don't think it wouldn't do him any harm. You've seen, like, Solskjaer was able to take Pogba out, and he gave him a little seat and said, "Listen, I want you to do a certain thing, and this is how I want you to play," and stuff like that. And he came back, and since he's come back, he's been very good. Now, obviously, he was injured as well, so it was a bit earlier than that. But I think Marcus could do with a few games on the bench, just to let him know you're not going to start every week, kids, especially not if you're not firing on all cylinders. You've got Greenwood out there on the right. Like, in the bigger games, I know he likes Dan James, because obviously, defensively, he'll get up and down, and he gets you a little bit of space in behind him with the pace and stuff like that, with the counter attack. And then you've Martial, who is injured and hasn't kicked the ball for us in a couple of months as well. So there's a little bit of competition up there now, which there hasn't been for quite a while,
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly, though, you would imagine. I mean, the United, they can load up the bus on the way to the final, really, can't they? At this stage, I mean, they're definitely there anyway. But unless there's a monumental collapse next week, which I can't see happening, because I can't see you going over there and not scoring. And I think Roma will now, depending on the injuries on the keeper and stuff like that, but they got pulverized tonight, and they know they got pulverized. And I mean, it's not dissimilar to like last night either with PSG and Man City. I mean, it was kind of a little bit average in the first half, and you would have gone in being a little bit concerned, even though they were creating chances. But then to come out and just turn on the afterburners and boom, put 5 past them in that fashion.
The scary thing about City is they're doing it without a striker even,
Yeah.
Like, I know United were great tonight, but we had a real striker leading the line in Cavani. He really, really is top notch. It doesn't matter. Age is only a number when you're looking at a guy like that, because his movement and his sense of where he needs to be when the ball is behind him. It's worth its weight in gold.
It's also, I mean, those real top strikers as well, they have a knack of knowing the anticipation of what might happen as well. So it's his reading of the game, and over so many years, he just knows that ball's either going to go near post or far post, or it's going to come back out, and he's always in that right position at the right time, So outstanding player. Between his representatives and United, get around the table, get a name on a contract there, get it sorted. like guys like that with that experience, and especially to have that experience around a Bruno, around a Greenwood, around any of these new players coming through or younger players, it's invaluable. His wages is worth that alone. They're alone playing week in, week out and delivering. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
phenomenal player and fantastic signing.
The commentator kind of made a good point earlier. It was 4-2 and Cavani had 2 and Bruno had 2, and Bruno picked the ball up outside the box. And the first thing he did was look for Cavani. And it was as if I get him the hat trick, maybe I can put a smile on his face. Maybe we can put an arm around the shoulder and say, look at the way it's going. Let's sign him for another one of these and see if we can't lift a trophy or two. But he does look like he fits into the group very well. And I think with the likes of Rashford, you have the lad Diallo on the bench, you've Greenwood, you've Shora Tire coming through as well. And Anthony Lianga, there's quite a few young lads at United that could really benefit from having a guy like that around.
Yeah, I mean, just to watch his movement and training and his reading, even in a training session, will be invaluable to them. You know what I mean? Let's kick on to potential opponents in the final. Then we had Villarreal versus Arsenal. Arsenal, of course, giving themselves an uphill battle as always, conceding an early goal after 5 minutes, you know what I mean? And, Emery versus Arteta, then going in 2-0 down, then having a player sent off, then rescuing a penalty in the 73rd minute with Nicolas Pepe. Very strange lineup. I mean, no Aubameyang, no Lacazette. Start out. It's not a real statement of intent, really, is it? In terms of, like, in reality, where are the goals going to come from? You know what I mean? If those two boys aren't on the pitch, I know Smith Rowe started up front, who's a sensational talent, but probably a bit early for him to be carrying that weight on his shoulders in the semi-final of a Europa League.
I don't think he's a striker either, is he? For me, really, like, he likes to come in maybe from the wing or even play. I'd say ideally he'll play as a 10 because he's technically a really good footballer, but I don't think he's an out-and-out goal scorer, which is what they were missing. Now, I think if I'm right, Aubameyang was still injured, or the malaria issue, I think. And I think Lacazette came off, not at the weekend before. I think he's carrying a knock as well. So I don't know what options he has, really. Did he play Martinelli? I didn't see. I like the boy Martinelli, I have to say. He's a really, really good footballer. But again, he's a guy Arsenal are going to struggle to keep if this snowballs. Like, you're looking at the likes of Smith Rowe, Saka, Martinelli. If these are deals that Arsenal may end up having to, if not this summer, the summer after, to try and cash in on if they want to try and get back anywhere near that top 4.
Yeah, and then you look at Odegaard there as well, who hasn't kind of made up his mind and stuff like that. He's playing, but I mean, he had a really good start there at Arsenal, and then he's kind of pittered out somewhat. There hasn't really been much going on for him, I mean, they should expect a lot more from Nicolas Pepe when he's on the pitch, shouldn't they? Really, 70 million quid's worth of a player.
70 million's worth. Yeah, he should 100%. Yeah. I watched him in the group stages against Dundalk, and I kind of thought, yeah, he looks all right, And then I went, don't forget, they're playing Dundalk. He should look all right. His toenails cost more than the Dundalk squad. So he should have been looking an absolute baller. He picked up a couple of good goals throughout the group stages, I think. But he's kind of been nailed on as the Europa League player, hasn't he? Like, he's really struggling to get a spot in that starting 11 for the Premier League games. As some players just struggle, you look at Van de Beek at United, he struggled to get in the team, and there's other good players in that league. Havertz has struggled to get into Chelsea at times, and Werner as well, so it doesn't always work out for lads coming into the Premier League, and it doesn't look like it's worked for Pepe now.
I always get really concerned when I see a sort of a switch of player. Granit Xhaka at left back is you're kind of asking for trouble, really, aren't you, with that kind of change? I mean,
he's bad enough. He's bad enough in centre midfield, isn't he? And that's his position. So to play him at left back, I mean, the one thing you would say as a centre midfield opponent, if you can go by him, you're all right, because he's not quick. He's not going to get back in on you. So, I mean, if you've got the lads of Villarreal and they can move the ball fairly quickly in behind there, he turns like the QE2. I'd say they probably pulled them apart down that side, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I didn't see the game, obviously. I was watching the United game, but I'd imagine he really, really struggled there. But in fairness, Villarreal are a decent side. They've got a decent pedigree in that Europa League. And Emre, like it didn't seem to work out for him at Arsenal. But again, I think it's one of those situations where I don't know if it would have worked for anyone at Arsenal, given the situation and the players and the way things were. When United left, when Ferguson left United, there was nobody going to come in and do anything with that team, because it had just got to that stage where it needed evolution, and I think it's that way at Arsenal at the minute. They're going to have to take a couple of steps back if they want to go forward.
Yeah, I think when you part company with a manager that you've had so long and the quality of Arsene Wenger, I think the first manager that comes in, there's always going to be a very difficult uphill battle in terms of acceptance within the fan base. Even though at Arsenal at that stage it was kind of Wenger out at that stage, but still, you don't realize what you've lost till it's gone, that kind of way. And I'd just be with Emery as well. He has such a pedigree as well in this competition through Sevilla and stuff like that. I'm a Liverpool fan. I know as well as anyone, I thought he got a bit of a raw deal at Arsenal, to be honest. You know what I mean? I don't think they ever took to him. I think he was kind of a little bit eccentric and he wasn't kind of what they expected. Didn't necessarily get the support that he needed and kind of got railroaded very quickly. With Arteta, I don't know. There's so much going on in football at the moment. I mean, the campaign, they want the Cronkies out. It looks from at a board level that they want Arteta out. And it's kind of like it's a bit of disarray at the moment. Like every game is nearly a cup final, if you like. And this tournament to them is absolutely crucial. Because for them to win it, obviously they'd be back in the Champions League. They'd have that Champions League money. It'd be massive for them, And I just think it might be a struggle for them, Obviously, Pepe scoring that goal, gives them a bit of a lifeline at 2-1. And I think if the Arsenal shows up that we seen that played away last time, if they turn on the afterburners and they click and they do get going and they can bring one or two players back in time for next week, they are more than capable of scoring at home.
Of course.
But it's just that team that was out there tonight just looked like it was a little bit weak of taking that step, if you like, standing up on a pitch, and I'd be concerned. Obviously, Saboya's got a red card, so he's going to be out next week.
He's another one out, yeah.
He's another one out.
It's making that list a bit longer.
Yeah.
You've got the boy Tierney as well, who seems to be injured every other weekend.
Yeah.
I look at the boy Tierney and I have to say he's absolutely top drawer.
Yeah.
He could genuinely be the best left back in that league. He's very, very good.
Yeah.
But he's made a glass, the poor kid, He's injured more than he plays, and that's the unfortunate thing for Arsenal at the minute, Yeah. I wonder, and this is the only reason when you were speaking there, it was kind of rolling around my head, with the permutations are like, if United win the Europa, does the spot go to the fifth team in England, or does it go to Arsenal?
No, it goes back into the league position. It doesn't go to the losing finalist.
So it would go to fifth.
Yeah, it will go to
so
fifth.
That could be something where all the Liverpool fans have a United jersey on, is it? In the hope if you grab fifth, we might win the Europa and you get the final spot.
No, you wouldn't get the extra. You don't get an extra Champions League spot.
You wouldn't get it. Do you not get
they did away with that a few years ago, if you remember. They got rid of it. It's only ever 4 spots, so
it'll be up to 4 discarding United and the Europa.
Yeah.
It'll only be 5 if Arsenal win it, and then there's the 4 boys in the league.
I think so. I'm not too sure. I'd have to check that. It could be even. Yeah. I think it is. That's the way it would work. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
that's assuming what happens in the Champions League as well, because you still have Man City and Chelsea.
You still have City and Chelsea, yeah.
So there's
exactly.
a lot of permutations.
Yeah, there is.
But yeah, I mean, who would you fancy in the final? Would you prefer Arsenal or you prefer Villarreal? Or, I mean, obviously,
wouldn't be too bothered, to be honest with you. And I don't mean that in an arrogant sort of a way. Like, it's apples and apples, isn't it? Really, like, Arsenal have taken 4 points off us this season, and I know it's one thing that United fans are really, really irked about, because there were two of our worst games all season were against Arsenal, but I don't even think we deserve to lose them either. Certainly not the one we lost. And the draw game, we probably should have got a win and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, if we got Arsenal, it might be something where the lads could say, you know what, we owe these boys a good hiding, and they might really, really step up. Or it could work in Arsenal's favour, where they go, we've taken 4 points off these boys already. Happy days. So you'd have to wonder.
I think if you got Arsenal in the final, it'd be a kind of an easier tactical conundrum to work out. I think with Emery, he's a bit more technical in his approach and the way he looks at things. And he could kind of, and of course, his history in the tournament. He figures out ways to do things, So if I was looking in and I was a United fan, I'd probably favour wanting Arsenal in the final, even though, as you said, the results so far this year haven't been quite where they were. But, I mean, they kind of caught us on cold days, really, didn't they, when you think about it?
They did a little bit. But listen, the final is a final. And as we know in football, anything can happen in a final, I think getting there is great. It gets that kind of hoodoo off Ollie's back. Like, the lads really, really looked like when they came out in that second half tonight, they had the bit between their teeth, and it looked like they were doing it not just for themselves, but for their gaffer to say, you know what, this guy can do this, and we're gonna get the shovels out and start digging him out of this, which was great, to be honest. Because in recent years, United teams have hung managers out to dry.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall to see, one of Solskjaer's team talks at half time in a situation like that where you're down 2-1 or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like, what's the message he sends to the boys? Is it like, because you were creating chances? Is it, lads, more of the same and it will come? Or does he go in and say, lads, this is Man United, this is what we're about, you know what I mean? It'd be lovely to sort of see some of that footage, wouldn't it, at some stage? Like,
it'd be very interesting, because obviously we've picked up more points from behind than any team in the league this season. Is it a thing now that it's in their heads, like, that they feel like they can go and do a bit more when they're behind, or because the pressure is on? When the game is 0-0, are they a bit lackadaisical because they always feel like, we can score 2 or 3 when we want to? It's not a great attitude, obviously, but there's something that's happening, But the team talk would be nice to hear anyway. I'd hope it's the first option. I'd hope it's either doing the right things, lads, just creating chances. Keep going, keep knocking on the door, and eventually someone's going to open it, but you just don't know.
Well, see, it's because we look at him and we still associate him with being the babyface assassin. You know what I mean? That's what he was always known for. I wonder, is he actually behind it all? Like, I wonder, is that ruthless streak in him where he goes in on guys? You know what I mean? Like, I'd love to see him have a row with one of the players. No proper, like, get in there type of thing. You know what I mean? And
I've only read some of the stuff in the media, obviously, and Pogba talks about, how much better he is with players than, say, the likes of Jose was at United. So it does in a sense, for me, sound like it's an arm around the shoulder a lot of the time. But if that works, that's fine. There's no surefire way to victory or to glory at the end. It's the horses for courses, and if he knows what he's dealing with in that dressing room, and he's happy to put his arm around the lads and say, listen, that's not bad, but there's still more there. Show me a little bit more, and they do for him, then so be it,
I can't imagine I couldn't imagine me buying into anything that Paul Pogba says about his time getting coached by Jose Mourinho anyway. There's definitely an agenda there anyway. Look,
true.
As always, a pleasure. And again, we'll roll on to next week and cement that final. Man United definitely over one leg in there, 1 3/4 legs already in the door of that final stadium. But I think next week, even as a Man United fan, next week you'll probably have an eye on the other semi-final, really, won't you? Because your one is done and dusted.
Yeah, they'll probably. I'm just thinking from a television point of view, we may even get to see Arsenal over United, just because it's obviously going to be a more interesting game, So if that's all they're going to show us, we might as well watch it and see what we're going to end up against in the final,
Absolutely. Well, listen, pleasure as always coming on for the match reaction. Good to see United fans smiling again, and good to see them. Hopefully, Ollie getting that semi-final hoodoo off his back at this stage. Till next time,
Yeah.
YouTube, Dynamo Podcast Network. Smash that subscribe and bell notification button. This has been the Upper Tier Europa League semi-final match reaction. We will talk to you again real soon.